Be honest, Bucs Nation, we were all shaking our head worrying, like, is this the same old Bucs? A pick six, missed field goal, a lot of penalties. It was starting to feel like one of those games, like same old Bucs, but luckily we had a break at the end of the first half, and we came out with the 38-31 victory. Amazing game, a shootout. Didn't really want a shootout, but good to know that we are able to win a shootout if needed, especially when we're not 100% healthy on offense, so that's great. But yeah, if you are new here, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. I am Rami B, and I am getting into my weekly Buccaneers reaction regarding our win over the Chargers. As you can see, I'm in my Jameis jersey. I'm going to say it every week till I get it. I'm waiting on my Brady jersey from the Buccaneers shop. They're saying it'll ship no later than October 14th, so hopefully I will see that. Hopefully I'll get it soon so then I can start rocking that. But if you see me looking over here to my side, I am looking at some stats. I wrote it down so I can provide accurate information. But yeah, overall, an amazing, exciting win. Reminded me of some of those wins last year we had where James would throw a bunch of picks and a bunch of touchdowns, and it was like the Detroit game, I think it was, and the Colts game, things like that. But this one was definitely a tale of two halves. First half, we came out, first drive of the game, efficient, precision, surgical, moved down the field, no problem, scored. Then the problem started happening, that pick six. Herbert was starting to look good. He was completing a bunch of passes in a row. Their defense started kind of shutting us down, and we were having a lot of trouble. But what helped us was at the end of the first half, the Chargers got a little bit greedy, and decided instead of kneeling the ball with 55 seconds left, they wanted to rush it, which turned into a fumble, and then we scored a couple plays later. That was the pass to Mike Evans, I believe it was. Yeah, great performance by Brady overall. 30 completions from 46 attempts for 369 yards, 5 touchdowns, and 1 pick six. First half was looking bad. He had 2 touchdowns, 1 pick six. It wasn't looking that great, but then he came out in the second half completely efficient. I read somewhere that like his last 15 completions were 260, 270 yards and 3 touchdowns and no picks. Super efficient considering we didn't have Chris Godwin out there. Evans was playing on that bum ankle, and Evans, well, we'll get into Evans, but he was playing on that ankle. We didn't have Leonard Fournette. We lost LaShawn McCoy, and then closer towards the end of the game, we lost O.J. Howard, who has an Achilles, ruptured his Achilles, and is essentially out for the rest of the season. Brady on the season now has 1,122 yards, 11 touchdowns, and 4 picks. Great, like I said, the picks are a little higher. I think we were all saying, like, we'll see 10 picks maximum. I think the picks will go down. Like I said, we need to stop doing those out routes, which literally everybody since last season has been saying that it is the most predictable play. You can see it from a mile away, but for some reason we still call it, whether it's deep outs, close outs, and a lot of them are to Justin Watson. Like, stop throwing him the ball. He's not one to win those kinds of routes. Evans had 7 catches, 122 yards, and 1 touchdown. He has 5 on the season. Prior to this game, he was tied for first with a couple other players with 4, so maybe now he's up there. But I want to give a big shout out to Evans, having a lot of heart, playing through that ankle injury. I know this was like a weird game because Keenan Allen, who ended up only having 8 catches for 62 yards before the season when they were doing the top 100, was talking smack about Evans and Godwin, saying there's no way they're better than him. So I think Evans it was probably on his mind that, like, you know what, I am better. So I'm going to prove it. Playing with that bum ankle, getting down the field, getting deep balls, fighting through it. You could tell his movements and his running was not his typical self. He lost a little bit of a step because of that ankle, but he still balled out. I think it was the last touchdown we had, or maybe it was the drive where we kicked the field goal, the last scoring drive before our kneel down drive. He had that kind of 28, 29, 30-yard catch down the sideline, the right sideline, to get us into field goal territory. So that was really good and great to see from him. Scotty Miller, 5 for 83 and 1 touchdown. Beautiful deep ball that led to that touchdown. It was that drive where we literally scored in 2 plays. Like, we covered like 60 yards in 2 plays. So great performance. We need him to step up, and he's proving that he's not like a stereotypical short white slot receiver, and he can go get the deep ball and outrun defensive backs. O.J. Howard had 3 for 50 in that 1 touchdown. Beautiful touchdown. It was a beautiful pass by Brady. Vaughn and Brait each had a touchdown pass, so Brady's threw 5 touchdown passes to 5 different targets. Gronk had 1 catch for 29 yards, which was very important and needed at the end of the game as well. And then Ronald Jones had his second 100-yard career rushing game, second 100-yard game in his career. 20 carries for 111 and 5.6 yards per carry. It seemed in the beginning of the game we were forcing the ball down Ronald Jones, and he was getting it. But then in the second half, it got weird. We took him out. I don't know if he was feeling a bit winded, or maybe he aggravated something or hurt something. But we had Vaughn in, who proved to be okay. Running, not so great, but at least pass catching and stuff, he is kind of like a dual threat. And I think this was his first time getting a snap, so obviously there was some jitters, and he had a bad drop pass and things like that. But I think he'll be all right with more carries. But if Fournette comes back next week or the week after, I don't see Vaughn getting that many carries. Switching over to the defensive side, this was the worst defensive performance of the season for sure. We were blitzing like crazy, but Herbert has proved that he can. He can prove that he can play against the blitz. I know in Oregon he was real good against the blitz, and so far this season he's been pretty dominant. 2 of his touchdowns came to Jalen Guyton, one for 70. It was one catch, 72-yard touchdown, and another one to Tyron Johnson in the beginning of the game, one for 53 yards and a touchdown. When he was all-out blitz, he kind of just tossed it up. I get the whole logic behind blitzing. You want to blitz the rookie quarterback and pressure him, but our D-line, we weren't getting a pass rush. Even with blitzes, they weren't getting home. Probably because it looked like they were max protecting the line or putting in an extra blocker, and because the secondary was not holding up their end. But overall, Herbert had 20 completions from 25 attempts for 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, and that interception at the end of the game, which was an overthrow, looked like he was pressured. We played zone at that point, and Carlton Davis got the pick to essentially seal the game when they were potentially threatening to drive down. I was not worried that they were going to drive down and tie, because in that second half we kind of shut them down overall. They just had 1 or 2 decent drives. One of them was a touchdown, and the other one they moved down a bit and missed that field goal. The running game did nothing. Herbert led the team with 5 carries for 14 yards. Eckler got hurt, and the other running back only had 10 yards. So I think we held him total to under 40 rushing yards. And like I said, Guyton had 72 yards, Johnson 53, and Keenan Allen 62. So overall, they weren't super efficient in the passing game or running game, but our mistakes kind of gave them a chance, and it was 1 or 2 big plays. You take away those 2 touchdowns off the blitzes, take away 14 points, take away the pick 6. We dominated them overall, but I would have liked to see our defensive line, the front 7, get more pressure and get more sacks, considering they were down a bunch of starting linemen. But overall on defense, Sue had a forced fumble, which was the big momentum changer at the end of the first half, which got us in position to make it a 24-point game. Davis had that pick at the end, like I said. Shaq Barrett had a sack, which was more of a coverage sack. Herbert tried running and then slid behind the line of scrimmage, so it was a sack, but it wasn't really a sack. And then Whitehead had one off a blitz. Devin White, surprisingly, had a very quiet, one of his quieter games since the beginning of last season. He only had 1 solo tackle and 3 assisted tackles. So I don't know if he just wasn't feeling 100% healthy or they were scheming against him, but it wasn't his typical game. He was pretty quiet for most of the game. You didn't really hear his name. I don't remember hearing his name once, honestly. Levante David, though, balled out. He had 10 solo tackles. Not much can be said about Levante. Nothing more. He got his first Defensive Player of the Month. First time in his career for September, which is a robbery, but this is the Levante we're used to. He's probably, in my opinion, our best defensive player in the last decade. Most consistent, always plays with a lot of heart. You can't really shut him down. He makes his name heard throughout every single game. He literally single-handedly end drives, get 3 tackles, so he is definitely a baller. I think the punt, before we scored that field goal at the end of the game, the drive before, I think it was their tight end, Hunter, he dove or something to try to get the first down, and Levante caught him, hit him in midair and prevented him and forced him to punt. So it's plays like that, very good awareness, very good clutch ability from Levante David. So that's good to see. But overall, like I said, not the best performance. Okay, let me put it. Great performance in terms of going down early, overcoming mistakes, not sulking in those mistakes and sucking, but a bad performance in terms of we should have never been in that position where we're down 24-7. We were down 24-7 against the Saints, but we had a lot more mistakes against the Saints. Like I said, by the time we play them in week 8 or 9, we're going to be a completely different team. Right now, we are currently sitting number 1 in the division again with a 3-1 record. Saints and Panthers both 2-2. In the Atlanta game so far, they are 0-3. Their game got postponed to tomorrow against the Packers, I'm guessing because of COVID stuff. So again, we're sitting in a very comfortable spot. We do have kind of a gauntlet coming up. We play Thursday Night Football against Chicago. Chicago, they're 3-0. I think they won. I don't know if they're playing yet. I didn't check the scoreboard, but Nick Foles is starting. They could potentially be 4-0 when we face them. I wouldn't say they're an elite team, but they know how to get the job done. So I think that'll be tough. I think it's a winnable game. but I think they're not going to be pushovers, or we can't go into the game thinking that it's going to be easy win. The week after, the Packers come into Tampa. That's going to be our toughest game so far of the season. And then we go Sunday Night Football to Vegas, which I don't think they're slouches either. I think they're a little bit overrated from how the media and the league has been talking about them, but I think Gruden, this is his revenge game. I'm sure he's going to motivate the team with, like, they fired me after I got him a Super Bowl, yada, yada, yada. So I'm pretty sure that game is going to be tough for us. But potentially, best case scenario, I could see us being 5-2 at the end of those 3 games. Worst case, 4-3. I would hope the first 5-2. But like I said, overall, inspiring performance to see that Brady was able to get the team back, get the offense in rhythm. Like I said, we're missing a lot of players on offense, a lot of injuries. Evans is playing hurt. And the fact that we were able to put drives together, score with quickness, it really bodes well. I think, like I said, Brady needed time to gel with this offense. The offensive players needed time to gel and understand Brady. So the fact that now it's starting to come together, I'm kind of glad. We've been playing pretty bad teams overall just to kind of get it together. Get a 3-1 lead, get a 3-1 record, play with a little bit more confidence. The players feel like, you know what, we can actually win this division now. And then let the harder games come as the offense is gelling and things like that. I'm not too worried about the defense overall. I think we just played a rookie that looks really good and has been able to prove that he can play under pressure. So we'll see. Nick Foles last year, did we play him last year? 2 years ago when he was with the Eagles and we had Fitzmagic playing, we dominated them. So we'll see how it goes. Bucs Nation, let me know down below what you think of this gritty shootout style win, going down from 24-7 to 38-31. Literally a huge flip, scoring 31 points in the second half in the last minute of the first half, which is crazy. Brady 5 touchdowns. This is the kind of performance we were expecting from him. I don't expect him to throw 5 touchdowns every game, but 3 to 4 a game and close to 300 yards on average probably. So yeah, great performance overall. Really happy. 3-1, baby. 3-1 Tampa Bay. #1 in the division again, as Cameron Jordan said before the season started, that we are a team. He said this is a team that's fighting for second place. I think he was talking about himself. So yeah, thank you for tuning in. Once again, subscribe. And as always, let's go Buc Nation. 3-1 in the first quarter of the season. Let's keep stacking these W's. Let's get this division title and make a run in the playoffs. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, I am out.
Our offense tough, our defense rough. Go Bucs, go Bucs. Ain't no other team stopping us. Go Bucs, go Bucs.